Some people think there may be something subliminal about the president's sign, putting a message out there. You may not notice it first, but it leaves something in your head that sticks with you long after the talking stops. None of this information is coming from any kind of leak. The Pentagon puts all that information in weekly news releases, then posts these on their website for anybody to take a look at. All anybody has to do to figure out what's going on is use a calculator. What may not be so clear is how natural conditions can make the smog problem even worse. Now, of course, this all takes money away from where the Pentagon wants the money spent. So how does the military make up the difference? The deficit's rising, the stock market's falling, and 2 million people have lost their jobs just since the last election.
We need to ask ourselves in Congress, what can we do that would have a positive effect on the economy?
How about a pay raise for Congress? Congress is in line to get an automatic $5,000 a year pay raise unless a majority speaks up to block it. And what's Congress saying? The raise is called a COLA, cost of living adjustment. Now, for most of us, a 4% raise would be just a few $100s a year. Still, that would be a pretty refreshing COLA, right? Well, if you're already making around $150,000 a year like Congressman, a 4% raise is a whole lot more. But Congress has to take the raise to help out the Capitol Hill police.
Leave it to Congress to find another excuse to accept a pay raise for itself.
The police who guard the Capitol have been pulling extra shifts since 9/11.
It's been made very clear to us prior to September 11th that we were short-staffed.
Since then, some of them have racked up $50,000 or more in overtime, making their pay pretty close to a congressman's. Thing is, the law says Capitol employees cannot make as much as a congressman. Simple solution, keep the law. Just raise the congressional pay.
This is the perfect excuse Congress is looking for to keep its own pay rising. The Capitol Police made us do it.
Hey, do these folks look like the kind of people to argue with a cop? Watching Washington, I'm Terry Turner. The Pentagon spends $9 billion a year using government purchase cards.
As you can see, it looks like a normal credit card and can generally be used wherever MasterCard is accepted.
Las Vegas takes MasterCard. Guess what the Pentagon spent money on here?
And a questionable trip for 30 to Bally's Paris Casino in Las Vegas at a cost to the taxpayer of $15,000 to $20,000.
And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Purchase cards are used to buy luxury items like designer bags.
People use the cards in pizzerias,
In bars, strip joints, gambling casinos.
to buy tires,
High-priced clothes.
flowers.
And even a breast enlargement operation.
The General Accounting Office looked at just 300 transactions at a single San Diego naval base, and they found $500,000 in fraud, theft, and abuse, all on your plastic.
The supposedly elite research center even tried to justify buying Lego robots from Toys R Us as a research expenditure.
The Navy's promised to get things ship-shape. Tighter controls, fewer cards.
We've reduced the number of cardholders by more than 30%.
But there are still more than 1 million government purchase cards in circulation out there. And you get the bill for every one of them. Watching Washington, I'm Terry Turner.
Love a neighbor.
The president sure has a way with words.
They underestimated the compassion of our country.
Takes a lot of ribbing for it.
That's not right. And that's wrong.
In case you can't always follow what he's saying, the White House has been putting his slogans on the wallpaper behind him. If the wall says protecting the homeland, you know he's talking about
A legacy of a more secure homeland.
If the wall says strengthening communities through home ownership, you gotta figure.
I believe when somebody owns their own home, they're realizing the American dream.
In fact, the message gets across even when you turn down the sound. The wallpaper even keeps the message in front of you when the president slips up on, say, securing the homeland.
20 years from now, if we're still standing.
And the White House has nearly 24 sets of wallpaper for whatever the occasion is. Some people think there may be something subliminal about the president's sign, putting a message out there. You may not notice it first, but it leaves something in your head that sticks with you long after the talking stops. So is the president hypnotizing us? Some of his slogans do have a lot of staying power.
No child will be left behind.
That one stuck. It even became the name of the education bill that Democrats and Republicans worked together on. Now, what in the world can get both sides to do the same thing in Washington? Watching Washington, I'm Terry Turner.